Hi, I'm Jana Riley, and this is Ageless. I'm 40, and my life is just getting started. I'm here to share real talk and real experiences about how to live life ageless. Nothing's off the table. You know the vibes. Let's go. Hello, and welcome back to Ageless. And today, I am joined by former athlete and semi-pro football coach, and he's also one of my greatest friends, Robb Helena. Welcome to Ageless.
Hey. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. So I invited Robb on today because number one, I did a Q&A on Instagram recently for suggestions, and I had a request for an athlete to come on the show. And number two, Robb is so layered and he's so full of life. He's the epitome of ageless. So Robb, let's go back in time. Give us a Cliff Note version of your life as an athlete, and how did you grow into the coach that you are today?
So for starters, my dad's side of the family is from the South. So like small town high school football is kind of like embedded in my soul. And then the whole growing up with my dad being an LSU alum, football is kind of a thing.
It's kind of a big thing. I've been to LSU. I had no idea that is what football was all about. Like I wanted to go to LSU after seeing the campus because there was the camaraderie and just the spirit at that school. I was like, damn, that football is probably insane.
Yeah, my dad used to record the LSU games on VHS, and then when he dropped me off with my grandparents, like during the week, during summer, when I was like 6 or 7, I'd take it and I would just watch LSU football games over and over and over all day long at my grandparents, the same game.
Damn. Well, I think you found your calling.
Yeah. And then as I grew older, though, I was always playing. I always wanted to play, played all sports. And the older I got, the more dysfunctional my family got. And so it became an outlet. And like in high school during the summer, I would just get up and go to school and go to the weight room and go to classes and go back to the weight room and go to the field and then go to practice, then go home and sleep and then do it all over again just because I want to be nowhere around my house. I want to be nowhere around and we can get into that more later if you want, but it became an outlet. And, it was just a drive to rise above like what I was put in outside of football. I wanted no part of it outside of sports in general, because I played more than just football. I played baseball and basketball as well, but football was my go-to. Yeah, I played a lot of football from a young age, and I was played varsity for 3 years, and I was just not. I don't want to be like the Al Bundy, like the expired ass shoe salesman talking about how great of a high school football player he was. You know what I mean?
Oh my God, that's hysterical.
I did all right. So yeah, and then through that process, though, I lost sight of the fact that people went to college for an education, and I thought it was just like a stepping stone for sports. And then after I got injured and I wasn't able to play anymore, I kind of just got thrusted into the world. I mean, I got thrusted in the world before I was done playing. But
when did you get injured?
My senior year.
Oh,
yeah.
Did you have schools looking at you?
Yeah.
Oh God, that is just heartbreaking.
Recruiting trips, the whole nine. So,
wow. So what came next for you after your injury? Did you follow up with schools or anything like that? Or that's when you got into coaching?
Not exactly. I didn't even get into coaching until like 12, 15 years later. I just went. So, I mean, I've been on my own since the summer between my junior and senior year of high school. And I was just kind of catapulted into the world. And I had to do what I had to do to survive. I was put from one toxic family environment to just a super toxic world and a super toxic neighborhood that'll always hold a special place in my heart. That neighborhood will.
Of course.
Oceanside. So throwing it out there. No side or no side.
So that's where you played football. So you grew up in Oceanside, and that's where you
Rancho
played.
Buena Vista.
Nice.
Yeah, it was fun. Our school was like a football factory, though. Its first year of existence was 1988, and it won the state championship. Um, Actually, your Dodgers manager, Dave Roberts, was the quarterback at my school that year.
No way.
Yes.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So, go Padres. Um,
No, go Dodgers. Yeah, this is if you haven't seen Rob on my Instagram page, we have a very friendly banter because I am a diehard Dodgers fan, which you all know, and Rob is a diehard San Diego Padres fan, which I totally understand as he grew up here. But we do have the I'm sorry, I almost said San Diego Chargers. I wish they would just come back. The LA Chargers. We do have that in common.
those guys, man. I'll support the Chargers, but I'll never give the Spanos family another dollar of my money. You know, I had season
You're
tickets.
not alone.
Yeah, I had season tickets the last 9 years they were here, and man,
They
man,
just did a lot wrong. When
I
I
feel like they
moved,
owe me money still.
when I was living in Los Angeles, that is when the Chargers moved to LA. And I was probably one of the only fans that was happy about the move. I wasn't living in San Diego yet. And I was like so pumped. I'm like, I'm a football team that's in my town. That's great. And then I moved to San Diego and there's no football team.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I rolled over my season tickets from the Chargers to the Padres.
I think that was a smart move. You know what? You guys have a really good team. You have a really good team. You got a little bit of bad luck, but you have a really great team. And I see what you guys are doing with your farm system. And I mean, even though you gave a lot of players away for Juan Soto, but that's neither here nor there. I really think that you guys are going to do big things. You did huge things this year and
Fun fact.
some crazy moves. And I see you guys going all the way here soon. I really do.
Fun fact. I heard today on the radio for those statisticians. How do you
Statisticians.
Not esthetician. We aren't getting our eyebrows done.
No, we're not. We're not doing that today.
Padres starting pitching hasn't given up a run in like 6 games.
Damn. Well, was it last night that Blake Snell had a no-hitter going on?
Yeah, no hitter into the middle of the 7th.
Yeah, that's rad.
And Pujols just poked one through the shift.
He does shit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have them next. So wear them down. Just wear them down for us.
Working on it. They're playing right now, actually. Let me see what the score is.
Oh my goodness. So what I want to know is, how did you get inspired to go into coaching?
It was the randomest thing ever. I'd always wanted to, but life didn't really allow me. You know, I had to make a living, and coaches don't really get paid on the entry level. I was at a taco shop.
Real quick, can you tell us what the team name is and where you guys are located?
Yeah, right now I'm with the team. We're called the Beach City Giants. We're play out of Long Beach.
Nice. LBC.
Yep. East Side 20th Street, Shittick Field.
All right. Say that again for all the listeners so they can come and cheer for your team.
Shittick Field, 1900 Walnut Ave.
1900 Walnut Ave, Shittick Field, Long Beach. Go support the Beach City Giants. I'll be there. I'm going to a game. I promised Rob long ago that I would go. So I'm going to bring Monroe. I'm going to dress her up as a cheerleader. And it's going to be great.
Yeah. So, but it started 2017. I was at a taco shop and there was a team in San Diego and they were having a coaches meeting after practice. And one of the coaches recognized me from when I played and they invited me out to practice the next night. And that was a wrap. And they offered me a position on the staff. And then I was with that team down here for about 3 seasons. And then I've been up in Long Beach for the last 2 seasons. So
how did you hear about the Long Beach team? Or are you just
they were in the same league as the team that I was with before in San Diego.
Okay.
And after the last spring season, they reached out to me, wanted to bring me up. So
I love it. Congratulations.
Thanks. Worked out the travel and all that good stuff.
Yeah,
So
because that's kind of a trek to, I remember
yeah,
talking to you when you were sitting in traffic a few times, and
yeah,
that is quite a commitment to drive from San Diego to Long Beach any time of the day is a trek. And, bravo to you. More power to you, Rob. That's awesome.
thank you.
And, what is it that you get out of coaching that you just can't get enough of?
Honestly, it's an outlet. Just like, when I played, like I mentioned earlier, with just the massive amounts of dysfunction that I had at home, and I use sports and football and fitness as my outlet just to forget about it all. Not to say I have massive amounts of dysfunction anymore, because I don't. I've worked through so much shit to where I'm like good with what I am, but there's still stress, stress involved in my life on the daily basis, just like anybody that's going to tell me that they have no stress in their life and they're completely good and is a liar. I mean, there's still, day-to-day stressful shit happening. And all I know is when I'm up at practice and I'm running drills and going through schemes, and then on game day during pregame and those 3 hours during the game, like while I'm on that sideline and that game's going on, everything else is secondary. Everything else is secondary. So that's probably the main thing I get out of it,
You're in the zone. And when you're in the zone, you
yeah,
what? Can't miss.
right. So, and now just like that was the same thing when I was younger in school. It was, dealing with what I was dealing with. If you want to get into that later, we can. But
We absolutely will, because on the Ageless podcast, nothing's off the table. In fact, I just talked about my back-to-back rejections on the last podcast. So we can definitely go into the deep stuff with you, Rob. But here, real quick, while we're talking about coaching, I know there's so many former athletes out there, and of all different shapes and sizes and abilities. And if somebody wanted to get into coaching, what would you recommend? Like how would somebody get started? How could you just jump on a team, or do you network? Let us know. What's the deal?
it's tough because I didn't really do that. Somebody recognized me at a taco shop from when I played and invited me out to practice, And I mean, since then I've coached, semi-pro. I've coached 13U travel. Now I'm, where I'm at now, and I've had conversations with different high school programs down here in San Diego. Honestly, it's a crapshoot. I mean, you can look up, there's coaching clinics, or you can go to it and get some experience, and then but you kind of have to start off, Pop Warner. It's one of those things. It's not really what you know until you know.
Yeah.
And it's a crapshoot, and it's a stroke of luck. And it sucks because all the high schools that I've talked to down in San Diego, I was talking to one high school, and then the pandemic hit and everything got shut down. I was talking to another high school down here, and that coach ended up resigning from his position that had been there. He'd been at Point Loma for like 20-some years. There's just one thing after another. Then I keep getting these offers from schools up in LA because of where I'm at now with the Giants.
Right.
And I can't. It's not really feasible with my day job,
True.
So because it's a lot more, it's more of a job at that level than it is a hobby.
Oh, absolutely. So that's not something you could do full time?
I'd have to live with my mom.
Okay. All right. That makes
tough.
all the sense.
Even like on the junior college level, I think only a small portion of the coaches get paid. Even on the high school level, coaches get like a stipend for the year. So at the end of the year, they'll just get one check for like, a couple $1,000.
Unless you're LSU, I'm sure.
Well, Division I college is a little bit different.
I'm just playing.
If anybody's listening at a college level, give me a call. So, and I mean, a lot of guys, they'll, like the JC coaches, they take a leave of absence from the regular job and go to football season and go back to the regular job the rest of the year. And they save up as much money as they can during the regular year to do that. So, I mean, if you watch like shows like Last Chance U and shows like that.
Last Chance what?
Last Chance U on Netflix.
Oh, okay. Netflix
But
Last Chance U.
yeah, you'll see the coaches don't. A lot of the coaches are there, and they're just basically padding their resume, not getting paid, still living with their parents in their 20s. So, yeah, it's a labor of love for sure.
I think that's the perfect way to put it. Labor of love.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that would be a good transition into, what came up for me as you were sharing your story is, you know, how how do you push through when you're in an environment that is so dysfunctional and so toxic? How do you keep yourself in a positive space? How do you keep yourself game ready? How do you how do you stay motivated and determined?
It's hard to do it without the tools, you know. Um, One thing, like before, when I would just go and I would just be at school all day working out in the weight room and stuff because it was so toxic. My home life was so toxic. Um, all I accomplished was like clearing my head for that point and blocking everything out. At the end of the day, I went back and it was still there. It's hard. You just have to. I've gained some tools. I've done a lot of work on myself for the last 5, 6, 7 years, and spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally, right down the board. And I've had plenty of people try to derail me from that process. And one person specifically, I've allowed to derail me from that process, and that's on me for not having that super solid boundary with myself, um, to not let that happen. But yeah, you just have to find what works for you. Like I found what works for me, whether that's like a morning reflection, a daily meditation. Because now the days of being able just to go do something and block everything out are over because I have to go to work and I have to function. I'm a functioning adult. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Well, you also, for those of you who don't know Rob, he is a side hustler extraordinaire. I have side hustlers extraordinaires on this show all the time. You're one of the hustlers, man. I mean, when do you stop?
Get rich or die trying, and I'll sleep while I'm dead. Pretty
There you
much.
go. I like it. I love it.
You know what I mean? I've been in positions before where I've not so much recently, but like I've had more money than I could possibly spend or even knew what to do with it at times, and I've also been flat ass broke and without a dollar to eat and you know not really anywhere to stay, sleeping on people's couches if they let me, and battling some specific demons that I was using to kind of get past some pain from. Sorry, I live next to a fire station.
It's all good.
Siren goes on, but yeah, battling some demons that stem from that toxicity I was talking about when I was younger. So I've been on both sides of it.
How'd you get
Money
through
doesn't
it?
money doesn't bring me happiness, but at the same time, like I'm pretty miserable when I'm broke and fucking hungry. So just have to find that balance.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that you were talking about your morning ritual and morning meditations. I have one as well. My morning ritual is the most sacred thing I do every day because when I fill myself up with positivity and goodness and I write it down and meditate on it, there's something that it does for me spiritually that I can't explain. I feel awake and I feel prepared and equipped for the day. So I love that you brought that up because is that something that has saved you in your day to day?
I'm gonna say save me, but it's helped me a lot. Kind of what I do in the morning is whether it be before I start the day or on my way to work, depending on how many times I hit the snooze button there. I just I keep it quiet and I just sit and I just do some breathing and I just kind of open up my mind and to specific words. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes words will come to me.
Intuitive thought.
Yeah, there you go. Intuitive thought, like perspective. Word like perspective will come to me means or resilience or manageability,
Or the next football play.
Yeah, I try to
I'm
I
kidding.
try to let that come on a different on a different platform. But yeah, I just kind of listened the other day. The 3 P's came to me the other morning: peace, positivity, and production. You know what I mean?
I've never heard of that before, but I love
I
that.
just made it up on the fly when it came to me.
Peace,
The three
product,
P:
the three
peace,
P's. Let's say that again. The
be
three
peaceful,
P's.
stay positive, and be productive.
I love it. I think everybody could live by that. So, what would you say has been, since we're going a little bit deeper now, what has been the biggest milestone for you lately?
Um, in the last few years, I think I've done some work internally, a lot of it over the past 4 or 5 years, and I've been able to allow myself to be vulnerable, just in general with people, and sometimes it, as a result of being vulnerable, I there's pain involved, but if you use that pain in a productive manner as a lesson, um, then it's not necessarily a bad thing.
Not at all. I think vulnerability is such a beautiful quality to have, and it opens the door for a heart-to-heart conversation.
And growth.
It's authentic. It's
Yeah,
it's hard to do sometimes. I think
absolutely.
that's a huge growth. Rob, I'm proud of you.
Well, I mean, if for so long I had so many fucking like terrible feelings. I was numbing them out with substance and everything else, and I hadn't been vulnerable. And I come from the place I come. If you show vulnerability, people see that as fear and they feed on it, and they'll freaking go for it. So I hadn't been vulnerable in probably 15, 20 years with anybody. And the fact that first step was becoming vulnerable with myself and identifying like the source of all my fear. And I'd walk around with my chest out and beat my chest and be a big tough guy and put on like I was something else. But the reality of it was I was scared shitless inside to let anybody see what was going on. So as a byproduct of that, there was no growth. I wasn't growing at all, internally, externally, in any way, shape, or form. And so once I did start to become vulnerable on different platforms and different avenues, I finally started to grow a little bit more, and it's slowly become who I am right now.
Do you feel like it's helped you become a better coach?
Yeah, I mean, there's Robb that's here right now, and then there's Coach Robb that will just blow his top real fucking quick, and it's almost like two different mental states.
Well, weren't we just having a conversation about anger? We were just having a conversation about anger. I was in the car and we were going deep on that. And what was the one thing I suggested to you that worked for me the other day?
Scream really, really loud.
Scream into the night. And I had a situation, actually, my last couple of weeks have been so tumultuous emotionally, and it was making me irritated and agitated and very angry the other day. And unfortunately, one of my greatest friends was talking to me and like asking me questions, and I just lost it on the phone. I literally screaming at the top of my lungs, and immediately had to apologize for that. But I felt so much better.
Right.
I felt like the energy was just released out of my body. So I completely get what you're talking about blowing your top at the games. I blow my top at the games all the time. But anger is medically proven to, if you hold it inside, it creates ulcers, cancer, other negative diseases. And I just feel like if we have that negative energy, we've got to let it out. We have to let it out. Scream into a pillow, scream into the night, scream underwater.
The thing, I never really show my emotions outwardly. And so like when I get really, really angry, like I just get really, really quiet, and then it just kind of burns and burns up inside of me. So and it's hard when I try to like express it to somebody in a healthy way, like the way I'm feeling is completely devalued and discounted, then it definitely doesn't help the situation.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That just kind of feeds the demon.
Yeah, and I've allowed myself I've allowed somebody to like basically devalue me for the last couple of years on different periods of time. And I've just recently, within the last month or two, I've had to set a super solid, hard boundary with myself that I'm not going to allow that person or anybody else to ever treat me like that again, because it's just not a good feeling.
Well, you don't deserve it, for one. And all this work that you've done on yourself and the consistency of your daily work, I just feel like we get to a point where enough is enough. We draw the line in the sand.
Yeah, yeah. So, and you've kind of gotten a play by play with that one over the last couple of years.
I certainly have. I've had the play by play, and I'm really proud of you for just taking your life back and valuing yourself enough to walk away. I've had to do that in my past, and it's really hard when you really love somebody, when you truly love somebody. But I just saw an Instagram post the other day, and I hope I don't butcher this, but it
I
said,
don't even know if I really love her. Like after the first year or two, it's just comfortable, and then I had something to prove, and I'm loyal like to a fault. When I'm loyal to somebody, there's like I've put myself through hell being loyal to people that, and sometimes it works with me. Like how loyal I am to people works completely against me. So I mean, I'm a Scorpio. I can't. It's just
I'm a Scorpio, so no, I'm just kidding. I'm a Libra, but we are the autumnal birthdays together. Rob and
yeah,
I are about a month apart, like exactly.
yeah.
I'm older.
Have fun with that.
Okay, so there was a Instagram post I saw the other day that I absolutely love. Well, here's a good one. Distance yourself from people that bring out the person you're not trying to be anymore. Love that. That's I got that from Jay Shetty. There was another one. Oh,
I think I freaking saw that. I think I put that one up.
did you? That would be hilarious.
I also saw a good one that says, "Can you guys stop breaking each other's hearts? The gym's getting too packed."
That's a good one. I know. I can always count on Rob for the best memes. I laugh every day. You send me at least one good one every day. And you got to have a good meme friend, you know?
Yeah.
Rob's mine. Okay, well, I can't find this post, which totally bums me out because it was really good. Doesn't matter. We're just going to move on to something else because I'm going to get distracted looking at Instagram. But I think the one that I read is good. So I know that you and I were talking the other day at the pool, and you've had some major breakthroughs. Let's talk about that.
No, it's just going to back to allowing anybody to devalue me and knowing my self worth, and not allowing anybody to not allowing anyone else besides me to set my self worth. I know what I'm worth, and I'm not going to be devalued by another human being.
Good for you. That's huge. Is that
Period.
something you wish you would have had back when you were playing sports? Do you think it would have made you a better athlete?
I mean, yes and no, because the whole thing with athletics, especially at that level, is you have the other people telling you what you're worth and what you're capable of and what you can do. I think it can be slightly demoralizing to a 16-year-old kid looking back.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Or 17.
Football is
Yeah.
fierce.
I mean, just in any sport these days, in any youth sports, you got travel ball, you got baseball. Right now, my nephew's starting the recruiting process to play. He's going to play shortstop pretty much at anywhere he wants in the country.
Damn.
Yeah. So
Congrats to him.
I'll
You
let him
must
know.
be a proud uncle.
Yeah. Too bad. Never mind. His mom's kind of freaking on my shit list at the moment, but neither here nor there.
Yeah, this too shall pass.
Yeah.
So, how does one join a semi-pro football team? Is that something you have to try out for, or is this
Yeah.
a recruitment process?
It's
How do you
basically a
how do you get
tryout.
there?
Typically, teams will post up, it's word of mouth advertisement. Teams will post up when they're having tryouts. I think prior to the season, there's two. So from this level, people don't really go to the NFL. They'll either go play arena football, or they'll play in Canada or overseas somewhere.
Can
One
you
of the
explain
youngsters,
what arena football is?
it's interesting. It's like 8-man football on a 50-yard field in a sports arena rather than a giant stadium. So, like, they play in the Staples Center, they play the San Diego Sports Arena. Um, Different set of rules: three linemen, four running backs, receivers, and a quarterback. And it's real fast. Typically, the scores are typically like in the 60s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and it's a much faster pace. Different motion rules, different. It's fun to watch.
Okay,
So
take me next time because that sounds like a blast.
yeah, we'll go. We'll go to one. So I think San Diego, they got the San Diego Strike Force. But I got one of the guys I've watched since he was like 18 that's kind of come up on the semi-pro level. He's down in Brazil right now playing professional football in Brazil. I have a couple guys over in Turkey and Germany, one in the CFL. And it's a trip. So you think, they have football in Europe or they have football. I thought those were soccer places.
American football.
American football, right. And the answer is yes, they do. What American football is here, soccer is in those countries, right?
Yeah,
The biggest sport.
absolutely.
So now,
Football, as in soccer,
right.
is so massively huge in Europe and that part of the world.
Well, now flip that. We have the Major League Soccer and all the different soccer leagues here, right? And they're kind of
And it's actually grown so much. It's becoming much more popular in the
right.
States, and I'm so happy about that. And a lot of the really great players will come to the MLS to retire, like David Beckham did and many others.
And that's kind of the equivalent. So what soccer is to here is what American football is in those other countries. It's not quite at the level that soccer is there down in South America and Europe and stuff, but it's still a professional sport, and they have a large following, and they get to play in arenas and packed crowds. And so these guys they get to go experience that. And a lot of the guys that are on the level that I'm at, that I'm coaching at, they're really good football players. They either, played in college and didn't get drafted, or they were in college, got, for whatever reason, weren't able to make the grades or got kicked out of school for whatever reason. And so now they're trying to put film together on this level and get out of here. And some of them are just on their way out, and they're just playing for the sheer love of the game after they've played in college and played some, different professional leagues, CFL and stuff. And they're just not ready to give the game up yet. And they're just playing for sheer joy, fun, and enjoyment.
Now, do you ever see NFL scouts at your games?
No.
No.
Not so much. Well, basically the way it works is all the NFL, they're all at the colleges. We have huddle accounts, and we put our film together and we send it out to the different schools. Some guys still have college eligibility. Some of them are just out of the military and they have all their college eligibility. Different from it's such a huge different platform. So like I was saying earlier, typically they'll go they'll either play arena football here, or they'll be off in Europe or South America playing American football.
That's awesome. I definitely didn't think it was even a thing in those parts of the world.
It is, and it's growing.
It's good to know. It's just like soccer really is growing here in the States, and I'm really happy to know that American football is growing too in other parts of the world, because it is fun. And now, I mean, how do you possibly have time? Because now you've got NFL and MLB going right now. It's crazy making. But we're going into the best time of the year. October not only is my favorite month because my birthday's in October, but it's postseason baseball.
Yep, that part.
That part is right. Well,
So
Rob, I have so enjoyed this conversation, and I'm just so thankful that you came on the show today and you dropped so much information. If there's any listeners out there that want more information on a semi-pro team, or even just talk about football, or want to go deep with Rob because he's vulnerable now. So I'm going to post up
with the right people.
with the right people.
Only
Of
with the right
course,
people.
I'm just pulling your leg. I will post up Rob's social media information and give him a follow.
Yeah.
Where can we find you?
Robb with 2 B's, ROBB, Helena, HELENA. They're at Robb Helena.
Mm-hmm. Are
2
you
B's
on
Robb.
Snapchat?
Instagram, Snapchat.
Are you on TikTok?
No.
We got to get the Beach City Giants on TikTok.
I think they have TikTok. I just never really wrapped my head around like the couple. I think what did it for me, what sealed the deal for me in TikTok was there was a couple standing in front of the mirror, and then they turned the lights off, turned them back on, and they were wearing each other's clothes or something. I was like, this is weird. I'm not.
I think you need to give it another chance.
All right.
But you actually might not have the time because it is I'll be in bed watching the Dodgers and be on TikTok, and 3 hours later I'm still on TikTok. Time just flies.
Yeah, that sounds like a tough one.
But there's a lot of great content on TikTok, and it's just like reels. Yeah. I know that Instagram is, when they changed to their new version of Instagram, and everybody freaked the hell out because they thought that it was going to become the next TikTok. I liked it. I think people want to see quick, informative, or funny, or sweet, or something they can gravitate onto quickly. That's why people watch stories. That's why people love reels. That's why people love TikTok. That's why, Facebook is now pushing reels harder than stories. And I just think social media is just going through this like rapid change right now. And we just got to stay on top of it, especially if you're an athlete trying to get recruited somewhere. I think social media is the coolest free tool you could possibly use to show off your talents.
Well, there's actually something similar to a social media platform for athletes. It's called Huddle, where you create a Huddle account, then you upload all your film and everything to your Huddle account, then you share your.
How do you spell that? Just for anybody that's listening.
HUDLE.
HUDLE.com.
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah. So you upload your film to that, and then you share it and you set it up, and you can share the link with different outlets that are involved in recruiting and signing people up.
Nice. Well, from what I know, just my background, my dad actually wrote a program called Recruit Me, and it's for high school athletes to get recruited. It's a system to help them get recruited into the college systems. And he ended up selling the program, but I paid attention and, watched how everything rolled out. And one thing that stood out for me was coaches will go to your social media to see what kind of person you are. They want to know.
Yeah.
They want to know who you are behind closed doors.
Absolutely. So any kids in high school that are going through the recruiting process, don't put any weird shit on your social media, because coaches will look at it before they start the recruitment process to see if they even want to freaking send you the letter. So, I mean, you have to put it in perspective. There's tens of thousands of kids trying to go play Division I college football, but there may be each year in and out, year in, year out, there might be only a couple hundred spots on Division I college football rosters. So the slightest little question, unless you're just like in the top 0.1% of high school athletes, any question into your character, your personality, they're going to pass on you. So,
yeah.
And of course there is that small percentage where they'll think, oh, let's just get him here and let's try to keep dibs on him and make sure, but those guys are few and far between.
They don't want to babysit.
Right. Nor do they want anybody bringing negative press to their program.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So if anybody out there is listening, or parents possibly of student athletes, maybe go do a sweep of the social media and just make sure what you're putting out there is something that would be desirable to a college coach. So anyway, I know we can go on and on, but I just really want to thank you, Robb, for coming on today. And like I said, I will put all of Robb's handles to all of his social media accounts in the podcast notes. And is there anything you want to leave the audience with?
Pretty much covered it.
Vulnerability is beautiful.
Be vulnerable.
Be vulnerable.
Use it as a tool to grow.
Use it as a tool to grow, and it'll help you find a beautiful authenticity to be proud of.
Be vulnerable with yourself.
Yes.
And then in turn, you can be vulnerable with the people who deserve it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that.
So,
well, thank you so much, Robb, for joining the show. And thank you to everybody who tuned in today. And remember, when we are eternal, we are ageless. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Ageless. Don't forget to rate and subscribe. Tune in next week for a new episode.